Hello everyone. Today in my Return to India series, I'm going to be talking about finding a job in India after returning back. I was in a similar position about 5-6 years ago when I returned back from the US. The vast majority of people like you and me who want to move back to India for personal reasons and then decide, okay, I want to continue my profession, my vocation. So I'm going to be sharing that insight. Right? For me, it all came down to networking. I'm in the IT profession, worked in global companies for several years, a couple of decades and more, focused on enterprise architecture. So after returning back, I began networking extensively, reaching out to former friends, former colleagues, former peers, and also updated my profile on LinkedIn. And by doing that, I started reaching out to recruiters, reaching out to hiring managers. Now, the question that might come back is, does your OCI help or hurt in this process? It neither helps nor hurts. Being an NRI neither helps nor hurts. Because when it comes to, say, modern businesses, most business leaders are global. Even in India, people have lived and worked across countries. So that is not the real USP that you bring to your table. What you bring to the table is your experiences, your insights gained over the number of years that you have spent maybe working for multinational, maybe working for other companies, other organizations. And you need to position that as your strength. And once you do that, then the doors start opening. For example, in my case, I began networking extensively, reached out to hiring managers directly on LinkedIn. And a couple of hiring managers saw my profile and saw my pedigree. I'd worked in multinational companies. I also had experience working for Infosys way back when I had started my career. So one of the hiring managers at the first company that I joined had been with Infosys. So he saw my profile, he knew my pedigree, and called me in for an interview. It just clicked and went on for a second round of interview. At that point, it was not about my OCI, not about my US citizenship or the NRI status. It was about what I could bring to the table. I spent about a year in that job before I decided I needed a switch. And then I joined another multinational medtech company. Again, a similar process. Reached out to hiring managers and networking extensively, connected with them, and then when the opportunity arose, it just clicked. You go through these steps, you go through the interviews. Now, that is the vast majority of you. And a few of you may be coming with extraordinary abilities. People like, say, Sam Pretoda. If you remember, a person of the earlier generation who had extensive telecommunications background. And he came as the father of telecommunications in India. He was brought in by the government of India. Now, that's a special category of people with extraordinary talents. Now, it also comes down to networking. And since I brought up that example of the government, are there restrictions when it comes to jobs that you can look for as an OCI or a returned NRI? Perhaps not, because the business world is a pretty level playing field. But when it comes to certain categories of jobs that require, say, security clearance, working for the Department of Defense, or a Ministry of something, or the Government of India, you might have additional scrutiny. And you may not get a tenured job in certain universities or certain locations. But that's about it. So feel free to ping me on further questions about finding jobs or opportunities in India, and we can continue this dialogue. Thank you.